Hello, everyone. First off, I want to thank you guys for watching, paying attention to me. Let's start there. This is going to be a quick video. I realized that a lot of my followers on Instagram don't really know anything about me, about the whole background between Darkyogi, Dragonfly, what that has to do with anything. But I'll give you a breakdown of it. Dragonfly came about after I left a domestic violence situation. Both sides. It wasn't like Ike and Tina and eventually Tina hit back. No, yeah. It was mutual. Not knowing how to express myself, my emotions verbally, knowing how to communicate, and likewise, you know, both sides. So anyway, after I left that situation, I decided to go into capoeira. And long story short, a dragonfly followed me into the building. I'm from Arkansas. At the time, I was living in Little Rock. So I drove 2 hours east to Memphis, Tennessee, just to take a capoeira class. And a dragonfly followed me into the building. Me and the sisters there, we looked it up. And dragonfly represents change. When you see dragonflies, when they're black, they're adults. But before then, you'll see them when they're smaller, different colors and whatever. So as dragonfly transforms and gets older, it changes colors. So if anybody who has been following me since I used to do, you know, when I was stripping in my early 20s, going into pro-am porn briefly as Candy Lovelace, when I used to wear the blonde weave, you know, half the fro, you know, yeah, that's me. That's what the Dragonfly is about. And the Dragonfly Affect is not immediate. That's why it's spelled A-F-F-E-C-T, because it's gradual and it's over time. You know, it's not a direct impact. But in terms of sexual trauma, I have been a survivor of sexual abuse since I was 4 years old. That's the earliest memory that I have of being molested, of someone being in my underwear. All right. So I was eventually raped by a step cousin, going to visit my father. And it just became the norm whenever I would go to see my father after he had gotten out of prison for the final time. And that's just what I put up with, just to be around my dad. And then my step cousin told another step cousin, and then I just went with it. And rape sex became my norm. So now here I am, 32, and realizing like, hey, I only know how to really receive or give love through sexual acts. And I'm still learning that I have a blockage in terms of communicating that to my partners without sex. So yeah, this is something else that I'm working through in my own personal life, on top of helping other people heal through the traumas that I've healed from when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. So the last incident that happened that I considered the trauma, everything that happened between myself as a child, between myself and another child, and vice versa, didn't really affect me. It was the adult imposing his will, the principal molesting me, you know, using his authority over me to manipulate and, you know, all that shit. So that, out of all the shit that I've experienced, even the rape, I don't consider myself being victimized or traumatized from it. Because none of it had an effect on me like the principal. So, learning how to communicate my issues or anything that I am working through has been a challenge for me. And this is where astrology comes into it, and learning about my Capricorn moon and how we tend to be a little emotionally retarded. Wanting affection or yearning for affection, but not knowing how to go about it, because our mothers tend to be pretty cold, or whoever our mother figure, they tend to be pretty cold and, you know, not really the I love you hugging type of family. I didn't have that on my mother's side. We're not that ain't how we operate. It's just not. We'll buy you things, we'll provide for you. That's your foundation. But we ain't on that I love you hug. Oh, we don't do that. Now, my father's side, yeah, they love on you and shit, but it's also full of incest and molestation. So, come to a place of acknowledging and accepting that, yeah, there were fucked up parts of the trauma, sexual trauma, but god damn it, did it make me a fucking professional at this thing. So I have wisdom and I have discernment from that shit. And I'm not a victim. And I'm not defective either. So, yeah, you want to talk it out? Hit me up. Book a session. Let's work.